Now, for those of you in practices that we've worked with a lot, we've gone into DiSC profiles many, many times. And we really like the structure of it because it helps us have a common language amongst the team about, one, our own traits and our own behaviors. And so we can come to appreciate the differences between us, as well as the things that are similar. And then we can have some space for one another. That's really important in a team, isn't it? And then the other reason is that if we can observe our patients and begin to have an appreciation for their style, then we can more effectively communicate with them. That's really the goal. And so through the DiSC profile system, we get some clues and some tips and some ideas about how to best communicate with our patients. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So this is just our Dental Boot Camp kickoff slide for the Dental Boot Camp program. Love that slide and those cute little guys in their boots. So this is from the Dental Boot Camp, and I've actually moved it up to the opening of the Dental Boot Camp. It used to be after lunch to really wake people up, but I so like starting with it because the goal is once you understand yourself and you understand others, then you can be flexible, because that's really the goal of it, is our ability to match and mirror, our ability to connect with all kinds of people. And some of us can do it more readily than others. We have maybe a more outgoing personality and we can sort of be chameleon-like in some cases. And others of us are a little shyer and we have maybe a more analytical sometimes. And so it's more difficult sometimes to match and mirror. But in any event, I only teach it because I think it could be a help to you in relating effectively to others. So, but it's not about putting anybody in a box. We don't put anybody in a box because we're all unique and we're all individuals. So the platinum rule is what we call it. And the platinum rule, you know, all know the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Well, the platinum rule says, treat people the way they want to be treated. Treat others the way they want to be treated. Or do unto them the way they want you to do unto them, to say it in a funny way. And so this sort of rests on one of our discoveries about communication. That's how much of communication is really nonverbal, which is really your appearance, your speech tone, your eye contact, your connection. And that really says a lot. And so there's a guy named Marston who was at the University of Southern California that did a study. And he said 93% of our communication is nonverbal. So not the words you say, that's the 7% is the words, but 93% is your body language, your tone of voice, your facial expression. All those mean so much in how you communicate to another person. And then the other thing that we love to connect with DiSC profiles, and it's really part of this whole patient rapport concern, is BLT, which is not bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches. It's believability, likability, and trust. Our number one goal in our relationship with our patients and really with our teammates is believability, likability, and trust, and that's BLT. You know, when we meet someone and we like them, well, a lot of times we like them because we're like them. We like people who are like us. We like people who laugh at a lot of the same jokes. You know, it never hurts to have a good debate once in a while, but we like people pretty much who see the world like us. And so one of the things about likes is that it really calls on us to observe our patients and to be like them, to slow down our speech if we're talking too fast and they're more of a slow moving kind of person. Speed it up if they're quick and, you know, right to the point. So likes, something important to remember. Walter would always talk about harage, and harage is a Japanese word that translates stomach art, our connection with another human being, that one-on-one, gut-to-gut, soul-to-soul connection. And what we learned from Walter Haley, who's really the founder of Dental Boot Camp, is that when you've got harage, you have that rapport. People like being around you because they know you're interested in them. Rapport starts with your being interested in them. And so this phrase, I like me best when I'm with you. You know, when you really like yourself, when you're around another person, they've got good harage. And we all want to have good harage, which is really, to me, people have good harage who have an appreciation for the other person. You know, maybe we have differences. Maybe there's things that that are not, we don't agree about, but we have an appreciation for them. And we can look over there and we can see that beautiful human being that's across from us, even if they ain't so pretty today. So your profile. Now we're going to talk about DiSC profiles, D-I-S-C. And people always say, why is the I lowercase? It's just a branding thing, and it was a copyright thing. Doesn't mean anything. We're going to say what DISC means in just a minute. But many of you have done the DiSC profiles. If you haven't done the DiSC profiles, have your doctor, your office manager reach out to me, and we can arrange for, you know, y'all to have some DiSC profiles if they want to do that. And I'll be happy to go over them with you privately. All right, so we do study this because the better you understand yourself, the better you're going to understand others, and the more you'll be able to adapt and be flexible. So a couple of things about this grid. You might take some notes here. I don't have a handout for you at the moment. I may have one later in the chat. We'll see. But when you look at this grid with the D and I on the top and the S and C on the bottom, the D and the I are your extroverts. They're tellers. They tell you what they want. They tell you when they want it. And a lot of times they tell you how they want it. The S's and the C's are on the bottom. They're askers. They're going to ask questions. They're going to be concerned. They're going to ask you analytical questions, but also they're going to be concerned about how this fits into their lifestyle. That's more the S profile. The I's and the S's on the right-hand side, as I'm looking at the chart, are the people-oriented styles. They care about people. They love to interact with people. They may or may not be very detail-oriented. Some of the S's are pretty detail-oriented. They really like things to be done correctly, and they like all the I's dotted and T's crossed. But the I's and the S's primarily are people-oriented. And the D's and the C's, they're task-oriented. They're results-oriented. They want to make sure it happens on time, happens right. So I thought we'd just go through pretty quickly the different profile styles. So the D profile is first. It's green, right? So the D profile stands for dominance. These folks are drivers. They make it happen. They like to be in control. They don't like to leave a lot of things to chance. They want to know why it's not done already. They're always in a hurry. They can be very domineering and demanding. Even though they may speak gently, they may be emphatic. I've met some very soft-spoken people who are high D profiles, and there just isn't a lot of talk. It's just my way or the highway. Now, that's not bad. We've got to have our Ds in the world, just like we need all the profiles. It's a rainbow. We need them all. But they can be domineering and demanding, and for some profile styles, that's hard to be around. So one of my goals is if being with certain styles is tough for you, that you can develop a capacity and ability to be with all different kinds of people. All right, so they do make quick decisions. They're always in a hurry, looking at their watch. Their time is really important. In fact, in some cases, I must say, they think their time is more important than anybody else's. But don't we all think that, right? My time is more important than yours. But D's really do tend to think that. Bottom line is the number one thing for them. They really like to pay attention to the bottom line. There's one, our old friend Simon Cowell. He's on the America's Greatest Talent now. He's softened a lot since he had a baby, but he's definitely a D profile. And Judge Judy, you know, appearances can be deceiving. She looks so sweet, but she has that tongue. She can just cut you right off. And you all know people like that too. And you know, when you're interacting with the D profile, the one thing about a D profile I think that's really important is that they want to interact with someone who's going to be straight with them and strong with them. So after we go through the 4 styles, I'll talk a little bit about just some tips and techniques with interacting with each kind of person. So that's our brief review of the D profile. Let's look at the I profiles. Let's see, there's something I want to do here. Let me see. Oh, well, that's all right. Anyway, the I profiles tend to be creative and they're expressive. They love to talk on the phone. They're very engaging. They're always making things happen, rallying the troops, getting everybody together, organizing the party. That's certainly true about the I profiles. You can spot them in your practice pretty easily. They're always very talkative. They don't want to sit down. They're going to come talk to you at the front desk and bother you. Anyway, so that's the I's. They can be pretty disorganized. Not all of them, but they can be. But they probably will know where things are, but they tend to have a few stacks. Like if you look behind me, I have some of my stacks covered up, but I tend to make my own stacks. But they're very personable, and that carries them through life a lot, is that personability. They do love to party. They love to have a good time. So that's one thing that's true about the eyes. The song we have is Celebration, right? Now, I don't know if you can hear it because I don't know that I'm optimized for that. Let me see. No, it's all right. This is Beyonce. This is an older picture of her, but yeah, she is definitely an influencer. She's a people person. She's an extrovert. She is in control. She is making it happen. Eyes do have that extroverted way, and they do like to be in charge. So I think she's a great example of the eye profile. Will Ferrell, oh man, what a riot. He is so good. More cowbell. That's one of the things I most remember about Will Ferrell. He's outrageous, he's funny, and he's all the way out there. So that's another trait of the influencer, is being outrageous and outgoing. So now the S profiles, let's talk about the S profiles. The S profiles, the S stands for steady, right? So they're on the people side of the grid. They're on the bottom side, so they're our first introverted style. And introverted, you know, they're quiet. They like to have their surroundings be pretty much in control. They don't like to be uncomfortable or be outside their surroundings for the most part. Whereas the eyes like people, they both like people. The eyes will have maybe a big circle of friends and maybe not remember everybody's names. The S's will have a small circle of friends and be very close to them, probably for many, many years. So that's the S profile. And here's some more about them. And I love this kitty cat. They are amiable. My daughter's a high S profile, and this describes her to a T. She's very amiable, friendly. She wants everybody to get along. She'll bend over backwards for everybody to get along. She's very kind and nurturing. She's very intuitive in terms of what people's needs are and how to take care of them. S's like things to be peaceful. They really don't want a big ruckus. Unless sometimes they're SIs, because we do have combinations out there. Let's see, they're thoughtful and they are very friendly. They do like people and they're usually very warm toward people. They're very good listeners, and they're very good listeners because their ears are open and their mouth is closed. And a lot of times the S profile in an office setting will be the one that everybody goes to, you know, because they're safe to speak to and they don't have a lot of judgment about what you're going to say. So we tend to go to them. Sometimes we put them in a bad position going to them, honestly. But they do it because they really want to take care of people. They're a very caring style. The song I picked was Shower the People with Love by James Taylor. And the car I picked was the old Prius wagon, right? It's good for the climate and good for our natural resources. And will hold enough people to take everybody on the team to lunch, right? So that's the Prius. Tom Hanks definitely has a strong S profile. I think he's got some other things going on. I think a C or an I, I'm not sure. I think probably an I. But he's such a good-hearted person, and everybody gets along with him. As does Sandra Bullock have that same reputation. So those are a couple of people that we chose for the S profile to give you an anchor. And I go over these people mostly so you can have an anchor and someone to relate it to. In your office, it's even better to get to know each other's styles, because then, you know, that the better you know your team styles, then you'll begin to spot the patient's styles. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. Let's finish up and talk about the C profile. The C stands for conscientious. I also think it stands for CPA. It stands for, you know, that kind of person that's really attention to detail, comptroller. You know, they really are attention to detail kind of people, and they're analytical. Their questions about their treatment plan will be very specific and very detailed. And you can't give them estimates as answers. They like to know the real scoop. So that's the C profile. They are cautious and they are serious. They tend to be. And they're neat, clean, and organized for the most part, although I've known a few messy C's. But they're very thorough. They will find the mistakes in your health history if they're filling it out, either online or on an iPad or on paper. They'll circle your errors and let you know that period that shouldn't be there. So they are very thorough. The car I'm saying for the conscientious folks, the Volvo, you know, because it's got such a great warranty. And the song, I chose Beethoven's Fifth because, now I'm a music major, it's a perfect piece of music. Perfect fifths and the perfect E-day fix all the way through. topic for another day. I like this picture very much because Bill Gates, Mr. Microsoft, now with the foundation that he and his wife run, where is he in that picture? Did you find him? He's the little young guy right over here. Looks like he is barely in the picture and probably is standing on a milk crate or something to be able to be as big as everybody else. That was his first staff. Can you believe it? And here he is with Melinda. And thank goodness for women who help their men get their act together. He looks quite dapper in that picture. He doesn't normally look that put together when you see him on TV. He has a sweater and his hair is a little mussed. But anyway, good couple doing some good work around the world. So that's overall, just a quick overall view of DiSC profiles and understanding the platinum rule, do unto others as they would have you do unto them. So one thing is there's opposites. So let me just say before I go into the opposites, you know, most of us don't have just one style. I don't have just one style, although I did wear this red shirt on purpose. But I could have worn a green one too, but that would have looked awful Christmassy. Yeah, so the D's and the I's, there's a lot of folks that are DI profiles. There's a lot of folks that are IS profiles. There's a lot of folks that are SC profiles, and there's some folks that are DC profiles. So the profile that's next door to each other is the more common combinations, all right, of people who have the styles. Now, and let's say who works well together. Sometimes the D's and the I's can work really well together, but sometimes the D and the I need the opposites, right? So sometimes the D needs the S and the I needs the C. Or sometimes the C really needs the I, whereas the S really needs the D. So why would that be? Let's talk about that. So a couple of strong suits and weak suits. The dominance profile really loves to be in control. But one of the things that's really difficult for them is they have a real concern or fear or antenna about being manipulated. So they can perceive what they're being manipulated. Maybe that's not even the case. They just have a tendency to want to avoid that situation because it's a threat to them being in control, okay? The S profiles, they love everybody to be in harmony. They really want everybody to get along. But when people have conflict or change, it's very uncomfortable for them because it's in direct violation to their commitment to harmony. The influencers, we love acceptance. We want you to like us. We want you to pay attention to us. But if you really want to get back at us, just ignore us, right? Just ignore us. Oh, it's the worst. You may not be ignoring us at all. You may just have attention on your own business. We'll feel ignored, right? That's part of the I's challenges. It's all about us, right? Okie doke. And then the C, accuracy is so important to the C profile. They want it to be correct. They do a lot of work to make sure that the work they do is correct. And they don't like to be criticized. If you find something wrong in their work, don't do it in public. Why would that be? Why would they feel so hurt if they're criticized? It's because they take such great pains to get it correct. Now, most people don't want to be criticized in public, by the way. But when you do criticize, let's say a C profile, you just really want to say, I don't know if you've noticed this. This is something I saw. I'm not sure if this is what you meant or if you were sort of thinking of a different scenario. Why don't you explain to me sort of why you came to this conclusion? Rather than you're wrong, not very tactful, or I can't believe this is what you did. This is ridiculous, not very tactful, not great to do with the C. They'll shut down, but they might get you later. So be aware of that. All right. So let's just do a quick run through. When you're working with D patients, right, you want to be on time for those folks. You want to let them feel they're in control. You want to make sure you get to the bottom line and let them know what their treatment needs are, what it's going to cost them. You want to limit the facts and the product knowledge. You want to be really just overall broad brush. You can always say, if you want more detail, just ask me, but I know you're busy. Let me give you the broad brush and the bottom line. How would you like to proceed? Sometimes they're the easiest ones to present treatment to. because they just really want to know what to do and what it's going to cost and how we can work that out. Others need a little more finesse. Respect their time, be businesslike and direct. They don't like it when people beat around the bush with them at all. Efficiency, profits, and savings are really important to them. And always, and this is true with every patient, is make sure they know it's their decision to make. So that's the D profile. The I profile, the handshake, be sociable, be people-oriented. These folks love to know who has had what done, and if you can relate to that. Ask open-ended questions that will reveal their personal motivator, what is most important to them, and appeal to their desire for recognition and social acceptance. The S profiles, you want to make them feel at home. You want to spend time building rapport with them. Remember, they more than any profile need to feel really comfortable, and they are a little slow to trust. You really have to earn their trust over time. The patient that you most want to not overwhelm with treatment is your S profile. And when I say overwhelm with treatment, I don't mean it like, okay, I'm going to go in there and overwhelm with treatment. No, sometimes you really have to find out, there's a lot, we discovered a lot today, and I think you know that from the pictures that we looked at. Tell me what your feeling is for what you've seen so far, and then get a read from them, and then say, okay, let me share with you what the doctor was, and you talked about was his top priority, and then give you sort of an overview of where we're going. And maybe together we can come up with a sort of a semi-timeline. You don't want to pin them down too much on that piece because they'll resist that. They'll want a bite-sized piece for the most part, those S's, and then they can commit to the whole thing. You want to always demonstrate empathy and understanding with your S profiles and ask them directed questions. Our C profiles, our conscientious ones, our CPAs, give them the facts. They're task-oriented. They need to know how many appointments, how long they're going to be, how long I'm going to be here. Will I have to go without teeth, or will I have teeth? They're going to want to know all those questions, as will everyone. They'll take the brochures and they'll read them. The I's might take them because they always like to collect everything they can that's free, but they probably won't look at them. But the C's will. They'll read them. Appeal to their logic and their commitment to accuracy. Ask them if they need any more information. Let them know they can call you anytime and ask anything that they have on their mind, that we want to be very, very comfortable. Don't rush them. Oftentimes, my really experienced treatment coordinators, when they know they're going to have a C profile to go over a treatment plan, they're going to allow more time because they know they're going to have to, at the beginning, take it a little slow. They're going to have a lot of questions. And if they really want to gain their trust and have them say yes to care, they're going to need to take their time. So they set it up in advance. That's part of preparation. That's what we want, right? So just to summarize, that's a quick run through on the DiSC profiles. We want you to understand yourself better. We want you to understand each other better so that you can be adaptable, not only with the patients in the practice, with your team, with your family at home. All right, we just want you to be happy, okay? Suzanne Black, See Through Results.